I might, but if you need like 15 minutes, maybe 30. So that's why I intend us to, do whatever we want to do within this month, and then a few days of this month, and then next month. Beyond that, trust me, if I tend to get so busy, then imagine adding another load that I'm trying to go for after August. So trust me, the only time I have is now and then August. So let's work together to make sure that you guys can learn something hopefully it can benefit you, and of course I have no doubt on that. So okay, so we go straight on. We are saying that today we are just going to register to sort of create a registration form, and if you have time, maybe you can look at managing state of that form. If not, we just create our form, and then hopefully next time we can make sure how do we manage state of that form, because of course when you create a registration form, I believe the intent, the goal is to make sure you capture data from those maybe forms, and then you'll be able to store that information. Hopefully back end should be able to manage that. Since I told you guys Node.js, I would implore you to start learning Node.js on your own. Node.js will help you to build backends, because now if for example I teach you how to build apps, where are you going to submit the data if the user has entered information? So what do you need? You need backend. So I implore you during this period, try to fix time and learn how to build backend in Node.js. Hopefully you can connect, you will connect this app with that backend, and you'll be able to submit information and store it in a database. So I needed to put that across. Yeah, so yeah, we can go straight. So we need to this what someone is saying something. Please go unmute and say something.
So, my question was, is there an alternative to Node.js to learn?
Yes, back end, you can develop back end in different programming languages or frameworks. One, these are the ones that I prefer, but you can always choose any that you want. Python, Django, Spring Boot, Java. Okay, so when I say for example Django, that's a framework for Python, so you can build a RESTful API. Actually, I think I'm building one. I think I'm done with that. The other system that you saw is basically Django, and then that's backend RESTful API or REST API in Django. Next, you can use Java. Which framework do you use for Java? You can use Spring Boot or you can use Spring Boot for Java. Then C#, you can use ASP.NET. You can also build APIs using C# in ASP.NEt, which is that framework. Okay. Then you can also use so those are three. 4 is JavaScript, where you use Node.js. 5 Laravel, which is a framework for PHP. So you can choose any. Personally, I find these are dear to me. I've built most systems in Node.js, that's JavaScript. But I tend nowadays, I'm leaning towards Python, Django, but ASP.NET and Spring Boot, I've worked with them and I like them. Okay, Spring Boot, ASP.NET, C#, Django, and then Node.js. So you can choose any of those. Sometimes it's not about the technology, but how you use the technology. But of course, they offer different things, but most of them, they're almost, the same. Okay, so you can always do your own research on those 4 or 5. Okay, what's the difference between if I use Laravel and the Django, Spring Boot to build my API? We'll see what people advise. Then you will look at the project that you want to implement and choose a tech stack for yourself. Okay, that's it. I believe we can start. Okay, yeah. So we're going to build a form. Yesterday we had created a flexbox. I hope you still remember. So I'm going to remove this, the middle one and the last one, so that you can have one. So there is this one. If I do this and I remove this, okay, we go back to our app. You see now we have two, as you can see. Then I can move this one as well, so that we just have this one, okay, something like this. Okay, now so we can say initialize we can say maybe registration, or user registration, because this upgrade anyway. You can just even remove this that registration, okay. So I can say fill in the following details to complete registration, okay. So now we have something like this. So I want to create a registration form. Now if you look at this, I want you to see clearly on my screen, from here to here it's like silver, and even here to here, but in the middle it is purely white. Why? Is because this one, it is this view. I told you views are like divs. So the external div takes the default one, which is the default color, which is this one, which is like white but not entirely white. But in the middle one, because we instructed it to be white. Now if I come and put background here color and say red, you will see the difference. Background color, and then I say red, okay. So you see what I'm telling you? You see what, like this one is a div inside the div, okay. But remember, in this case we are talking of a view. This view is inside out in an external view, which is red white. So the white one is in the middle, okay. So I'll first use that one to style the way how I want my form to look like. Now I had said flex one, if I want I can remove this, okay. When I remove that, this is how it looks like. But of course I would want you know, my form to occupy the entire space. So what I can do, can maintain this, okay, and then try to remove this so that we can start from up, yeah, if we want, so that we have everything like it because justify content is the one that puts that view in the center, okay. So if we check, you can see now where it is, okay. You have your form, and you know, so you can see it's now in the almost in the borders. Why? Because if you say justify content and justify center, it puts everything in the center of the component. So in this case I want to use, I can put margin, there is a style property for styling. It puts like stuff in the center, okay. Or if we want, we can actually say justify content center. If we put justify content in the center, then we have our information in the center, yeah. But when you use align serif, now it's like pushing the, if you say align serif, it will push this view in the what, in the middle. So it's up to you what you want to achieve. Or if I don't want to do this, I can remove this, okay, and then you see, then I use margin, okay. There's, when you say margin, let's say maybe 20, it puts like you know, spaces from borders, Now there is margin vertical, which puts it like, you know, y axis, x axis, When you say margin horizontal, it puts spaces horizontally. When you say margin vertical, it puts spaces vertically. So if you see this, you can see that now the form, you see the space from here to this, this to this, this to this, and then from down is equal. So that is because of this. Now I can of course make this one white. Okay, when I say white, you not purely see now the internal one. Now I can give the internal one like border. Okay, can say maybe say border width gives it like width maybe 2. Okay, and then I say border color, maybe I say maybe black. Okay, this. Okay, so this way now the the inside view, the one, remember we first the outside, when we gave this one red, there was an inside view which was white. So what I'm saying is that the view which is inside, I'm saying should be 20 pixels from the margins, and then the border width should be 2 and border color. So we find that the inside view will have a border of color black. Okay, so if you look at this is how it looks like. So I'm trying to create like a form, like that looks well. So now this is where we are. So how do I achieve the border width, and then the color of the border that you want? So if I want, I can give it 1 so that it does not look so big. Something like that. Now if I want, I can we can do border radius. Now border radius will put angles on the you see, anyway, I can show you this. It puts borders here, you see, instead of being sharp, it puts this. Okay, if you want, you see, maybe if you need, like this one is leaning towards is 20 is so, because this is margin from the borders of the screen, then we can try to reduce, and maybe we say 10, so it will now lean towards, you can see it's coming like close inside the, it has gone back to the border as of the screen. Then of course now if you see like fill in the following details, you see like the statement starts almost from the line. So if you want like space like to go inside the information to go a bit inside the form, now that's why you use padding. Okay, of course padding, we have now, just like we have margin. When you say margin, it applies it from the top, bottom, left and right. But when you say like margin top, then it only applies margin 20 from only the top. It will not apply it to the left, to the right, or bottom. So if you go back and see, you see that you don't see the black, because we've only applied the margin top where we've applied the margin on in the top by using margin top. If I say margin maybe left, then it is going to only apply space only from the left. You can see that the here on top starts from the almost the top of the screen, but here it only starts from the left. Why? Because you only used margin left. So instead of saying margin top, margin bottom, margin left, margin right with the same dimensions, you just use margin, and it will apply it equally from the top, from bottom, from left and the right. So that's basically, as you can see, it has now, so the same applies now to margin. Now margin is the distance, like the object from the object and its borders. Now because remember you're applying it on the entire view, but when you look at padding, padding goes inside, put space like inside now the view, not outside. Outside becomes margin, inside is padding. So now if I come and say, now just look at here, field in the following details to complete registration, field starts from the body exactly like this line. So if I put space so that the line, the information, even registration, to be sort of have space from this line of the view, then you use padding. Okay, so if I say padding, that's 10. Now if you say padding 10, it applies it on top, bottom, left and right. Okay, so now if you look back to our form, you see there's space. On user registration, there's a space from here, also here you see from this line there's space. The more I can show you when I increase it maybe to 30. That's when you see the significance. You can see now the information has gone a bit inside. You can see it is now inside. So yeah, so I can try to reduce this maybe to 6. so that we have maybe maybe that's okay. It's up to you. Design. So as long as you know the tricks of design, the fundamentals, that's the most important. The design, it depends on the design that you have at hand. You design based on what your designer or what you want to design. So as long as you have the basics, you can always achieve so anything you want. So for example, I can decide to make this one, I think it is see this, right? Something like silver, yeah, something like that. Okay, yeah, so something like this, not entirely black. So it's just design. So now we are going to design a form where, for example, capture first name, last name, couple of things. First, maybe let's use first name, last name, address, city, stuff like that. Okay, so we for if you want to have like text field, which is the text input, with the component is called text input. Okay, text input, right? So we come and have those fields here. Okay, so we can have a view. A view is like a div, and then we say text. The first one is first name. Okay, if you go back here, you realize that first name is there. Okay, we shall have first name there. Now we want a component. We want a component for text input, and we've said we've imported text input above. So we normally the component is text input, but when you put it like that, you will not see it. You have to make it. You have to make design so that it is visible. So now I told you yesterday how we can create the styles that you're seeing here are inline. We created inline styles, but then you can also create styles, but you reference an object of styles from the styles object here. So we can create here styles for input. You can say input field, or you can just make it input. Okay, so what do we need? We can give it a height maybe of 10. Okay, we can give it a padding maybe of 5. Now you know what padding is, you know what a height is. We can give it border width. You know what border does? It gives it border, the lines, and maybe we give it border color, which we can give maybe sky blue. Okay, so these are the styles that I want to apply on the input. Okay, border to give, because right now we can't see it. It is there, but you can't see it. It's you see, even now when you see the cursor. When you see the cursor there, it means that I can type here. I'm typing. It's there, but it's not visible. So you have to sort of give it visibility. So that's why I've created these styles. Okay, so if I come and I say style equals styles, then dot input, because that's the input. We've created that object down. Styles, of course, this is the key here that we've created. You can, I told you yesterday, you can name it anything, and then dot input, so that we access this one that we've designed. Now if you look at what we have now, you see now it's quite visible, but the height is small. Okay, the height is small. You can't see even what someone is going to type. Now what we can do is maybe you can give it maybe 20. So when we give it 20, we expect that at least it's going to be much a little bit bigger, so you can see though it is still quite small. So you can always increase to the dimensions that you feel like having. Okay, so now when you do this, you see now you can see now it's a text field. You can type, okay, first name, you start saying Darrington, but you can style it better. The rest, me, I'm just giving you the best styling. You can always use CSS styles, or to create beautiful designs. So maybe I can create some border radius, and then I say to now the
So I think you've muted yourself because we can't hear you.
Okay, do you guys now hear me? You guys
Yes.
so yeah, so what I was saying, margin vertical, it puts like space vertically, so that's why we are able to have like, it puts space from this label and then the one that is going to come next. So we can maybe also design the first name and last the field labels. So we can say input label, and then remember to terminate here, of course, input label. So we can say font size, maybe we'll give it 14, maybe font size, of course it's font size. Then font weight, maybe we bold it if you want to bold it. Okay, now the input label is like first name last name, so I come and I price styles, I say styles dot input label, something like this. So if you look at this, you can see first name is a bit colored, sorry, in bold, and the font size has been increased. So we can be specific and say color, and then we apply black so that it's visible enough. So you can see now you have first name. Okay, you have first name. Now what I was saying, that there are components that you can use, that or libraries that already provide you styled components instead of writing styles for them. For example, we have what we call React Native Paper. Okay, React Native Paper has components that are already designed, like text input. All you have to do is import from it, and then you have like a well-designed component, so, other than reinventing the wheel or having to style, input from React Native, apply different styles and all that. So okay, go to docs. Okay, so get started, please. So if you come to components, so they have different components. For example, these are loaders. If you want a button, they already have like those buttons already designed. So let me look for text input. So you can always explore text input. So this is text input, like the field is already designed. So this is like a flat input. If you want a one in this form, I think you can just click here. You see, if you want something that looks like this, then outlined, you see, like this. So instead of reinventing the wheel using CSS, you can use like this library, then disabled, something like this. So there are very many libraries you can look out there. It's just like when you're doing React, how you have Prime React that gives you already designed components, where you don't have to reinvent the wheel from scratch by applying different styles yourself and all that. So but when you're starting, the best thing is to learn from scratch, so that you get to know how to develop these components on your own, how to apply styles, because even when you get these components, you might want to apply some styles to make it look better or to do something. So if you have the skills yourself, then it becomes very easy. Is this text input good enough? So of course it has props, like press holder. I can say enter your first name. Okay, enter your first name. As you can see, you have a press holder, enter your first name. If you need to understand more props that come with React Native, you can always check out the documentation. I like reading the documentation. The best thing you can always do, guys, is always read books. Documentation, for me, I find that fancy, like you get information firsthand. So text input, okay, let me just go to 7.4. They should be able to see. Where can I see the props? text input, just click on that, and yeah, you will see the props here. All these are property props. It's a abbreviation for properties, properties. Just like you have properties of a student, you have name, age. So these components also have what we call props, properties. Okay, so you can always look this. If you want, for example, I think to make it the text area, use multiline, multiline on true, and then you give it a number of lines. Assume it was like a text field, which is like a description. Maybe we'll create it later so that I can show you that. So now I believe it's good enough. Or I can just make it silver. It's up to you. The design, just like I told you, the most important thing is to have the skills to do this. So the rest, since we've gotten that, I'll just duplicate this so that what I need is just duplicate and change information. Okay, enter. For example, this one I changed to last name. Okay, last name. And of course, so you can see something like this. If I want to increase, you see now they are somehow cluttered, this and that. So what I do is I can put styles for this each view that is holding an input. Okay, so I can call this one input field, then I come back, I change this one input field. This is just naming, there's nothing special. So that the view I call it input, because the entire input has a text. And so I say input, and when I give it input, what do I give it? I want to have space, so I can say margin vertical, I have like 10, so that these views have space in between them. If you still look at them, they are still like cluttered. I don't want them to, at least they should be like space. You guys have better design skills, so I can say styles dot input, then I also apply it to this view which has the last name. I say style, then styles dot input. Okay, now when you look at this, you see now we have space between them, between this first component and then the one for last name. So I challenge you to always go and type here, for example, mobile app registration forms, to look screen design. Yeah, should have been screen design. They can always show you nice screen design, so then you build towards them instead of getting things. There's one that I saw here, I think it was this. See, like this. See something like this. But this one, so you see this component there. Now you see this component, how it goes. There's this thing, then there's first name here. It goes like the last name is here, then it is this. So you see now that is that's that. Instead of reinventing the way, you just come to this text field here, and then I think it is outlined. It's here, but now what you need to change is the color. And of course the outline color is here. You can always change the outline color, so it's like this. Yeah, so that's why I told you, if you explore, then you find when this one, for example, is already designed for you. Now just want to get a dummy one registration form that we can use, but anyway, can just assume any. You see what this one is showing. Just want a simple one that we shall not waste time on. So you can always explore, so that I'm just showing you that you can always look for design, because I know most of you are not designers. So use websites like I think I showed you those websites where there are designs. I must have showed those ones, I think, in one of the previous sessions. Okay, so we saw that where's our text input here, so we can look at props. Props, let me look for the ones that we can use, the ones which are most that I can look maybe to style. All these are props that you can apply on the what, on that component. Editable if you don't want people to edit it. If false, text is not editable. If true, it is not editable. Maybe you can go through a few of them to show you. If I say editable and I say false, meaning that someone cannot edit it or someone cannot input something, that's basically what it says. Now if we come back here, if you look at first name, you see even if I put the cursor I can't edit. For last name I can, but if I try here on last name, nothing. But if I say editable true, you can see now, just a moment for it to refresh. You can see I can put now the cursor. Okay, so you can always check documentation and all other resources you can use to placeholder. Then if it comes to check, you've used the style, the one for styling it. You can also look at selection color highlight. If you highlight selection handle and cursor color, if you say for example selection color and then you say red, okay, you see the cursor, it just like we've written from the documentation, it changes the color of the what, it changes the color of the cursor. So you can see now the color when you select. Now I only applied it to the first one, so that's why it's applying to the first one. If you want it on the same, so you can also drag here and maybe you can change the color to green. So but I don't know, they should have uniformity, so you can see this one is green, this one is red. So I'm just showing you this so that you can then with of course text align. If you want to align your text whether left, right, center, for example, by default it is on the left. If I say maybe center, we expect it to be in the center. Okay, you see now where the text is, you start typing from the center. Okay, if you look at this from the center, but when this starts from the left. So yeah, so you can always apply the designs you feel you want to have on your spell check. If you want to make sure if the user types, they can be able to check the spelling of whatever they are going to type. Okay, spell check, it's a boolean true. Okay, and if you do that and then you come to this, whose name is not known, Dungu is not known, it's the spelling, do they know it? Maybe Kiswahili. Which okay, if you come and just do this, normally they highlight it. If it is like spell check, see, disable spell check style, red underlines, the default is inherited from autocorrect. So spell check is basically used normally there's when you're typing it might not have been shown here, but there's when you're typing and then they show the spelling is not the one, so that's basically a spell check. Okay, so I think these are good enough. Secure text entry. Secure text entry, we normally use it for passwords. If you want, like if you're typing, you see when I type like right now, we can do it okay for password. So we shall create 2 entries. I will duplicate still my forms, these fields, and then I say enter your password, then here I convert it to password. Okay, so if we do this, you see now if someone is typing password, they can easily see it, but essentially when someone is typing password, you should not see it. So the property that you use is what we call secure entry. Okay, secure text entry. Okay, so you come here, you say secure text entry, then you say true. If you make it true when you're typing, you'll not be able to see what you're typing. You can even see it has already been converted. As I say, you type your password and it's being changed, okay, to hidden. Okay, so we can do the same concept since I brought this property here, and then and then we use what we call confirm password, and then we tell user confirm your password. So this is where we are now. Okay, so we can add other fields like address, etc. So I will come somewhere like here. So if this is just now duplicating information, anything else we are just address, and then here I say enter address. So these ones I can just remove them, they are not important. Selection color was just to show you. So you can explore these properties as much as you can. So we have something like this now. Okay, have something like this: first name, last name, address, you know. So yeah, this is basically now what we have. Maybe what we can have next is just a button. So we are going to style our button, so we are going to put a view here, and then now if you go to button, you can always search here. I don't like you anyway. For me, who has developed systems, you find that there are other libraries that provide better components, but of course this serves like something you can use as when you're starting. Okay, so you can see the props that you can use. Now the reason I saw, for example, I don't like the button from React Native is it does not provide you like the property for styling. Okay, you have to use like basically what they have. But if you're using like text React Native paper, and then you go to button, where is button here? I'm sure they have style amongst you can see here the property is here, so meaning that you can apply your own styles, which is different from the one in React React Native. Like there's no way you can apply. You have to use these ones that they provide you. So which is sort of limits what I want to achieve. Okay, but for now I don't want to use React Native paper. I want us to keep using the default one. When you guys have upgraded, you can always use the libraries like React Native paper. So I will import button. I think we had okay, so can come here and say import button. So import button, and therefore I will come here and say I would want to have button. Okay, so title is mandatory. I say submit. Okay, so now if you go to our app, you find submit button there. Okay, you submit button. Okay, when you press, nothing happens. Okay, yesterday I showed you how we can achieve like pressing, so that when you press you see something. Yesterday we looked at it when I think it was like send greeting and that. Okay, so the property that you use when you want to, we said if you want to submit, the property you use is which takes in basically a function is called onPress. It takes in a function, so I can come here and I say alert. Then I say greeting. But instead of going, JavaScript has a function called alert. You don't need to use the one from, it depends on what you want to use. You can say hi Darrington. Okay, hi Darrington, something like that. Okay, so now if we come and we do this, you see it says hi Darrington. Okay, it's an alert. It says hi Darrington, meaning that the on press happens is the action that you want to happen. You want the action that you want to execute once the button is submitted. So we used this yesterday, so I can delete. So it's good to on press to use functions. So I can create here. I say handle submit. So under submit is a function. I showed you how to create these functions when we are studying JavaScript. So I hope now you're not seeing new things, just like I told you yesterday. So I can say, you remember we used console.log in JavaScript when we are running. So you can say you have clicked me, sir. Okay. So then here, that's a function, so that which I want to be executed once someone clicks the button, which is submit. So you get this handle submit, and then instead of putting the code here, you say on press, then you put the function that you want to execute. Now the console where you monitor the logs is this one. I can just refresh. If you want to refresh your code on the terminal where you run React Native, run Android, you press R. When you press R, it does with the reloading. Press R on your keyboard, it does the reloading. So if I come and I say submit, when I go to the log, I can see I see a message, log, you have clicked me, sir. Okay. If I go back and I click again, I've clicked twice, now I clicked another fourth, you can see it keeps logging that method, the text, you have clicked me. So meaning that the function is being executed when clicking our method. Okay. So how is it going, guys?
It's okay.
Right, what does that emoji mean? Samuel, what's up? You guys share with me. Let me get what you're saying, guys. Tell me.
Okay, so for me personally, now I don't know. For me, my files are a bit different. I think
Which
some.
which files?
So okay, I used so since you're using CLI, so I think that's the problem for me. Okay, now I used expose, so the I think the configuration was different maybe
No.
because
You see, you see this code, this code you're seeing here. This one does not depend on. Hey, which code are you having? How does it look like?
I'm seeing index
Five.
layout. Mhm.
I will attend to you personally so that to see what you're talking about
Okay.
after the call. Yes, the code remains the same. Yeah, Simon, the code remains the same. React Native is React Native. That's why in the documentation they are saying that if you do this, the view will change to this. No, it stays the same. So, do you want us to continue? Use emojis. Thumbs up if you want. If you feel like if we push will be too much, we can stop there. Now, maybe today let me add in something small. Now yesterday I showed you how to handle state. Okay, I said we use a hook code, use state to keep track of state. So we can write a hook for handling username, first name. For example, we can say first name, then we say set first name. We looked at this yesterday. Then we say use state. Okay, use state. So if for TypeScript, if you want, you can declare the data type.
So we not see, so we cannot see. Okay, that's come. We are not seeing the screen. That's come.
Okay, so you write constant first name, which I said it's like a variable going to store information. Then here is the function which will use to store information in this. Okay, then of course use state is the hook which helps you in setting state. So you're going to use the function set first name into a variable called first name. Okay, in this case we call it state. So in this case I'm saying it's a string because first name is a string. And yeah, so there is something I've not talked about, so let me see if I can get to that first. Okay, let's see if I can get to that. Let me me see if I want yeah, anyway, can just give that for now. So I'm saying that we are going to use set first name, then use state, which is a string, because first name is a string. So text input has a function called on change text. It's a property, on change text. On change text helps you in setting the value, okay, in setting the what, the value. Yeah, I've remembered what I wanted to show you, which was one like a text area. Maybe I'll go back to that later on in a few minutes. So the property for setting, like if you want to set a value, you use a property code, which is a function. So it is called on change text. So you can put here a string, or it takes in like the value itself. In this case I'm calling it text. Then in this case I'm setting first name, so I will use the other method in the hook, which I said is called set first name. So I'll come here and say set first name, then I set text. So meaning that every time someone types, this text will be set into the function set first name will be used, and the text will be set into it, and that will be the value of your first name. Now if I come now, I'm going to come here and say your first name is, and then I put first name. Okay, every time you click submit, if there is a, it will display like first name. Okay, so by default it is empty. Now this is what we have empty, and even when you look at, I can reload here so that we have updated interface. Now if I come and click submit, they tell me your first name is nothing, because I've not entered anything into it. So I can come here and say, I type my name, I say Darlington. Okay, when I say Darlington, then I come and click submit. When you look at the console, you can see now that your first name is Darlington. Then the first name is what? Darlington, meaning that we are able to get data from the keyboard, what the user is able to type only on the first name, because we've only done it on this text input for first name. If you want to set for last name, and you also do the same. So assume if on submit, you need to check if a user has entered. So I can say if not first name, meaning that the user has not entered first name. You use not. If not first name, meaning it's empty, I'm going to alert the user. Maybe in this case I can use alert.alert, which we used yesterday. You first put the title, remember, error, or you can say info. It's up to you to what you want to put. Then you tell the user, please enter your so it's like on submission, you don't want to submit a form where the user has not entered, where they use, then you say return, it stops execution, so it will not come to this statement even though it's there. So if you say alert, then it will say return, it will not continue. If you don't put return, it will put the alert, and then it comes and executes this console, but return stops execution. So now we still have the first name, so I will just reload here to make sure that it gets cleared, the states gets cleared. Now it's empty. Now if I click submit, they're telling me error, please enter your first name, because now I've written that logic where I'm saying that if not first name, then I'm telling the user first enter their first name. Okay, so if I enter the name, okay, and I submit, I don't expect to have alert because I've entered the name, and then I click alert, then I expect no. You can see there is no alert, but if you go to console, you can see your first name is Darlington. So another thing I wanted to talk about is maybe description. I can come here, duplicate this, and I can ask this guy to enter biography, and then you say enter your biography. Okay, enter your what? Your biography. So if you want to create like a text area, now you use two props. One, you call it multiline. Multiline meaning that there are very many. As if you can see, biography is like a text field, but the biography essentially is like a text. It's like a description area, text area. So use props one multiline, which is a boolean. You set it through the number of lines. Number of lines describes like how many like rows. So you come and say multiline, then you say true. Okay. So if you say true, then you can go ahead and tell us how many lines you want to set. So you say number of lines. Maybe I say 4. Okay. So if you save, where am I? Okay. And okay, let me see. So you see now, yesterday I talked about a company. Now you see like information is cluttered, like you can't scroll. You see you can't scroll. If you see you can't scroll, the form is big, and next time the user can't scroll. So maybe it's a point where I can introduce another component which is called view. Scroll view helps you in scrolling, so that if you have too much information on the screen, the user is able to scroll. So we can change this to scroll view. Okay, to scroll what? To scroll view. So if you come back here, you can see even the form is already you can see now I can scroll. Last time I could just put when I put and I tried scrolling, it would not scroll, but now after putting scroll, you can say I can scroll through the form. Okay, can scroll through the what? Can scroll through the form. So yeah. In one session you've been able to build this registration form. I hope. Let's stop here. It's not do much, just that I wanted to do this to be able to fill in number of lines, which should be 4. Let me see. Oh, it's because there is a fixed, I think, height. I think it's because there is a fixed height. Let me try to, I think that's why it is not able to expand, because I'm saying text input field. Let me just remove this. Yes, that was the issue. The reason as to why it was not expanding is because I had put height as 40. So even when I had put multi-line and number of lines, it would not expand. So you can see that now it's quite big. It's quite big, but it doesn't have lines. So what do we do? I can come, copy the styles, then I eliminate height, because height limits how big it must be. So I can just copy this, and I say text area, then I remove height, and yes, then I come and bring the same styles for text area on biography, which is who was, yes. So in this case I can put this here. Okay, so when I put that and then we go back to our screen, you can see that biography is now bigger than the others. Why? What helps you achieve that? Multiline and then number of what? Multiline and then number of lines. So here someone can enter their description. If you want to increase it, then you increase the number of lines. Maybe you can say 7. So when you increase it to 7, it goes down to becomes bigger. So you can see now it's quite big. Okay, so that someone can type as much information as they can. So you can now we are able to scroll, because I was able to use the scroll view components. If you don't use scroll view, you are unable. If I put back view, okay, you're not. It will not allow you to what? To scroll. Okay, if I you see like this. You see, even I'm trying to scroll on my keyboard, but I can't. If I put here, I'm trying to scroll. Even here, I'm trying to scroll. Just that you guys don't see me, but I'm trying to scroll, but I can't move down. Okay, but if we put it back to scroll view, and and then I try to scroll. You can see now I'm able to scroll through my form. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so let me just make this better. If you know, if you've run React Native in one day literally. So if you know how to design forms, what? Because apps are about that. Designing forms, doing what, capturing information. Maybe next time you should proceed with how to enter information. Make sure you get all the information within this field. Now you guys can even install this app on your phone and be able to enter information. Just that now for some of the fields we can't capture them, but we'll look at that. But you've seen our form here, registration form, and yeah, beautiful designed. If you want, we can make this one, we say register. Okay, we say register, and so that our bottom shows register as the text. I wish to stop here. Yeah guys, let's stop here for today. Even the recording can stop here for today. Yeah.